Hi, everyone. Jacqueline Kuhn here with JacquelineKuhn.com, powered by angels. And I have today an Angels and Astrology video extra where we're going to talk in depth about the final direct placement of Pluto in Aquarius that remains for the next 20 years. So I apologize in advance for this being a slightly longer video extra than I normally have, but there is an awful lot to cover with this transit taking place today. So for those of you who are new, I am a psychic. I do life coaching, as well as readings that and education connecting you with your archangels. There are 15 archangels that have been documented in various texts. 3 of them are the overseers. 3 of them are not tied to zodiac signs. The others are. As we go through each aspect, as the zodiac seasons, the astrology changes, I will clue you in as to which archangels you may wish to be working with based on the properties. Knowing that really helps you deal with some of the energy that might be challenging. Knowing that archangels were created to help us on Earth's journey. We are in October, which is the 10th month of the year, and that corresponds to angel number 10. This month is about divine creation, things that get created through divine inspiration. So your ideas, what you've been working on, new projects, even though sometimes the energy may be heavy, things might have stalled, this is the month to create. Angel number 10, it's divine creation, right? Know that those ideas are divinely inspired. Know that they are meant to be. And time to trust in that, get those plans in action, and begin creating for your future. Angel numbers are a way that the divine speak to us. One of the other things that I practice is education on angel numbers and what they mean. Right now, I do have for free my angel number masterclass on the website. Feel free to download that and learn about all of the angel numbers. The biggest thing to understand is, unlike numerology, we don't add the numbers up. So when you see a number, you look at the number in its entirety. We don't add up to a single number. We allow each number to stand on its own. And in that way, if you have multiple of the same number, it's amplifying that message, amplifying that property. So for those of you who see a lot of 1111, it is those angels telling you, yeah, you are creating, you are doing a great job of creating a better world, creating the world you are destined to be in. So know that we don't add them up. When you see a 1111, it doesn't mean 4, it means 4 ones. And more information can be found in my angel number video that will be free, continue to be offered free through this month. Beginning November 1st, it's going to be a paid product once again. We are in Libra season still this week, and that is Archangel Jophiel. I'm wearing pink in honor of Archangel Jophiel, and I got a download this morning when I was preparing for this video. That is it synchronicity that the breast cancer color is pink? Breast cancer awareness is October. Archangel Jophiel is divine, feminine, beautiful energy. Um, Synchronicity or coincidence? You tell me. I think it's synchronicity, but we'll let you make your own opinion. When you connect with Archangel Jophiel, she will help you, remind you of the beauty within. Yes, there's external beauty, but she helps clear your thoughts, clear your mind, clear the clutter, and bring out the beauty from within. So that's the energy that the foundational energy and information before we get into the astrology. For a couple of other things, remember, if you are a Facebook group member, you are entitled to Tarot Tuesdays, one every month, one free question answered per month. Our next Tarot Tuesday is tomorrow, October 14th at 6 Central. If you book your forecast reading this month, you will get a free 2026 calendar that will literally for every month have all the angels and the astrology information for each month in a year-long calendar, and then you can follow along with the videos and have a little more understanding and anticipation of what might be happening. Mention my angel number masterclass. I also have a new masterclass that I will be teaching on October 29th. It's really going to be about angels versus demons and helping people understand that, yes, demons do exist. For every good, there is evil. And how to recognize the difference so that you're not being exposed to evil influences, even though people might be delivering spiritual healing-based services, they may actually be powered by demons, not angels. So this masterclass is going to teach you how to recognize that. Information about that is on my website. And some great news, if you are located in or near the northwest suburbs of Chicago, I have just signed up to be a vendor at the Painted Tree store in Killdeer. My angel and astrology merchandise will be in the store, and the grand opening is going to be November 1st. I would love to see you there. There will be product surprises, offerings, etc. I will be in the store most of that day. So November 1st, grand opening. If you in or around the Killdeer area, the northwest suburbs of Chicago, would love to see you. Okay, let's go into the astrology. So I generated this chart this morning, just before 10 o'clock Central Time in my time zone. And while I'm not a seasoned astrologer and I can't, go through every single aspect, what I want you to pick up from here are all of the trines, all of the triangles that you see in this picture. And when there are trines, lots of triangles, it means that signs are aspecting each other, whether it be positive or negative, and how it impacts you will, in large measure, depend on where the degrees of these signs are in your natal chart. But there is a lot of really heavy, intense energy going on. And so if you're feeling a little bit out of control, if you're feeling that your emotions are a bit intense, if people around you are kind of blowing up and maybe reacting even more emotionally than normal, there's just a lot of energy going on. The good news is, as Venus enters Libra today, relationship energy should be more harmonious. And we will go into detail because today Pluto also goes direct in Aquarius, where it will remain for a substantial period of time. So let's talk Venus and Libra. Venus will be in Libra through November 6th. So Libra is ruled by Venus. So during this time, relationships should open up. Relationships of all kinds, whether it be personal or professional, should be a lot more harmonious. People will be more diplomatic. They will be kinder. They will be, some romantic energy. So romantic gestures, whether you're single or married, you may see that there's some more romance going on. And like in your professional work, think of those relationships you want to strengthen, right? Think of those people you want to reach out to, send thanks to, make sure you're touching base. When Libra's in Venus, this is also an incredible aspect for attracting abundance. And if you believe in luck, I don't. I believe in blessings, and serendipitous moments. But this is the kind of energy where that will happen. Now, tomorrow, Venus will be trine to Pluto. Now, we know Pluto is in Aquarius, right? But this trine actually kind of links to what your daily routine is and how that daily routine will contribute to your long-term plans and legacies. So take tomorrow to kind of write down, evaluate what your goals are, how you want to achieve them, and begin to make sure that you have routines, like daily things you're going to do to hit your goals. The energy when this Venus in Libra trine Pluto is really a good time to begin those routines. Have something or multiple things you're going to do every day to hit your goal. There is a potential challenge also in this energy. You notice how there were a lot of trines going on, right? Lots of triangles in that drawing. On the same day Venus is in Libra, it also opposes Neptune in Aries. And remember, Neptune is retrograde right now in Aries. So this really can create a conflict between what is ideal versus what is real with regards to your romantic relationships. So make sure that you're honest in your expectations with your romantic partner, particularly during this transit at this week specifically, and make sure that you're expressing what those expectations are. Your partner and you know what to expect from each other, so that you can understand what is truly real versus ideal. Because there's a little bit of wonky energy there with Neptune retrograde in Aries on the exact same day that this happens. Like I said, there's a lot of trines, right? Lots of triangles in that chart. Just a lot of stuff going on. So there are 6 signs that will be most impacted by this transit. This transit goes until November 6th, so the rest of October through the first week in November. So Taurus, Libra, Aries, Virgo, Aquarius, Sagittarius, you might want to pause. If any of these are your sun, rising, or moon, they will be extra impactful. You might want to pause the video right here and read what it is for your sign if you're Taurus, Libra, Aries, Virgo, Aquarius, or Sagittarius. For this transit, Venus and Libra, including the trines, obviously Archangel Jophiel, always for all things Libra. If you are looking for Archangel help in your relationships, that's Raguel. He is our relationship guru. And as you're communicating and setting those expectations and working to build these positive relationships, communication is Archangel Gabriel. He is our go-to for all things communication. So these 3 archangels can help you through this transit, make the most of it, as well as overcome any difficulties that you might experience with some of the more difficult aspects in those trines. Okay. All right, now we're going to spend a lot of time in Pluto direct in Aquarius. So Pluto went into Aquarius last year in November. It then went retrograde for a while, still in Aquarius. Now it remains direct and will remain there till 2043. This is when Pluto moves, when Pluto it changes its course, right? It's a very slow moving planet. It stays there about 20 years, right? It's very slow moving. Therefore, this is a generational kind of transformation. This is the kind of transformation that truly makes a difference, particularly when you look back historically. While you're in it, you may not actually feel the impact of it. It might just seem like what's going on in daily life. But as we look back to the historical context, you'll see that when Pluto moves, it makes huge changes in the generations that span its time. Now, I love history. I'm a firm believer in understanding history, because when we understand history and patterns, we can learn what might happen today. And the last time Pluto was in Aquarius was from 1777 through 1798. During this time period, both the French and American revolutions took place, as well the Age of Enlightenment took place. And that Age of Enlightenment was when learning and education and people were self-discovery. They were being enlightened as opposed to having the lords tell people what they should know. They were beginning to enlighten themselves. So you think of the energy, think of what was going on in the French and American Revolution, right? It was revolting and turning over of the leadership, of the centralized leadership, in order for individuals to take control, right? The French Revolution, they turned over the monarchy, who was very oppressive at the time, to have more individual rights. The American Revolution revolting against England so that America could have its own form of government and run itself. And America then turning into a republic. Very important that during this time is when America was established as a republic. As a republic, each state governs itself as well as being under the protection of the federal government. But the republic is a model where states should have more power and control over what goes on within their states. So that's the energy that happened last time Pluto was in Aquarius. And I'm kind of giving you tips as to what might end up happening in the next 20 years, right? So every single living being on this planet will be going through a transformation. Pluto does not discriminate. It doesn't say, oh, I won't hit you, you're going to be fine. People may, and their souls really might decide, I'm not up for this transformation. And we might see more people bowing out at what might be an early age from human perspective. But this transformation is happening whether or not it's going to happen around you. How you deal with it is really going to be how you get through it. I am super, super attuned to heightened patience, heightened intuition. Know yourself, know what you believe, be firm in that. Trust in those who have proven to be trustworthy, and have faith that things that are divinely inspired are just meant to be. While every archangel is probably going to be called upon during this transit, I would say these 5 archangels should be the ones that you focus on the most as this transformation happens. Michael, protecting you from lower energy, protecting you from evil and the evil one. There is a war right now between good and evil. It is a part of this transformation that's happening, and Michael will help protect you from that evil. Archangel Haniel, for her intuition, for her helping you make sure that you hone your own, and that you know what you are firm in your own beliefs. Archangel Raphael, for you to heal. There are going to be a lot of things to heal from. There are going to be relationships that no longer work. There's going to be some physical things, mental, emotional things. So Archangel Raphael for all your healing needs. Archangel Metatron, during transformations, we want to remain on our true path. So Archangel Metatron, for asking him to continue to help reveal and remain on your true path. And then all things Aquarius and wisdom is Archangel Uriel. He is the front and center archangel, really pretty much for the next 20 years. He is not only all things wisdom, but all things Aquarius. And so when you're looking for a little extra wisdom, kind of help you understand what's going on, please tap into Archangel Uriel. So a little more historical context as we talk about Pluto transits. So I went back to 1956 because I believe everybody who follows me, I think that will have been born through at least as far back as 56 to 72. Some of you may have been born before 56, but you were alive in 56 to 72. So Pluto was in Virgo. Virgo, the energy of work, the energy of efficiency, the energy of, practicality, right? And so Pluto is a change maker, right? Pluto wants to tear down what's going on. And so during Pluto in Virgo, we saw work changing, right? We saw the type of work change. We saw societal norms changing. We saw, the rise of women in the workplace. We saw civil rights. We saw anti-war protests, right? Pluto is about protests, right? Pluto is about challenging the status quo. Pluto is also about technology evolution, and the technology evolution we saw during this period was the first human in space, right? So Pluto in Virgo between 56 and 72 was that time where the world began to change. It was where the the 60s revolution, right? The not only the music, the culture, the clothing. This is really Pluto in Virgo. And then 71 to 84 was Pluto in Libra, where equality, justice, and relationships were transforming. This is the era defined primarily by Generation X, right? Virgo was baby boomers. This is Generation X. Generation X looking at fairness in all things, right? This is also where the feminist movement was at its height, right? The feminist movement got traction. Whether or not you think it's a good thing, we're not judging. This is just really the beginning of those major shifts. No-fault divorce got legalized. Prior to this period, you had to put fault on someone, and therefore most people remained in marriages perhaps that they shouldn't be in or that were toxic. And personal computers came about at the end of this transformation, right? Significant advancements in computing technology and then personal computers, right? People actually beginning to have a computer in their home. The word processor computers, right? So you're no longer typing on a typewriter, right? That happened during this transit. That was the technology that happened during this transit. And then we move into Pluto and Scorpio, 83 to 95. So this is really where people began to speak publicly about subjects that may have been taboo in the past. You no longer hid or felt bad about being in a quote unquote broken home or a home of a divorce. You heard people were, talking publicly about things like pedophilia, right? Taboo subjects, incest, and understanding what they were and that it wasn't normal and it was okay to speak up and speak out. This is the millennial generation, right? The millennial generation came into the world in this period, and they came into the world when financial power structures and the internet boom began to take place. And then from a personal freedom perspective, the Berlin Wall came down. And then we also, from a technology perspective, we had the Chernobyl disaster where they learned an awful lot about nuclear technology and what to and not to do. So Pluto and Scorpio, Scorpio being going in deep, emotional. This is when emotional aspects really came out and began to be talked about openly as opposed to being hidden behind the closet. And then 95 to 208, Pluto was in Sagittarius, and this is Gen Z, right? This is where technology was everywhere and everyone was embracing technology, but the people who were born during this transit are your first digital natives. They didn't know that technology never existed. They didn't never had to go to an encyclopedia. They went to the internet, the dot-com boom, right? Um, Pluto in Sagittarius was a global, right? This is really where people began to think and act and talk globally. Some of it was made possible by the internet, right? You now can see what's going on elsewhere in the world. You weren't relied on paper newspapers or magazines. You can actually get on the internet and see what's happening. Digital connections were super important. From a tearing down of structures, the 9/11 attacks happened during this transit, right? The societal impact on that was huge. Um, you know, not only suspicion and paranoia, but a new enemy was exposed. Pluto exposes things, right? Exposes truths. The truth of a new enemy was exposed during 9/11, during this transit. So that was Pluto and Sag. And then the last transit that we had, Pluto in Capricorn, was really the beginning of restructuring institutions and government. We had the financial crisis of 2008, where the way in which people were lent money, the way in which people thought of the traditional banking structures, cryptocurrency, whistleblowing was now protected, so you could actually talk about what's going on in your organization when things were bad, right? So the whole idea of the disrupting of the financial aspects that were running parts of the economy in the country. And when it made its, final move out of Capricorn, last year, it actually also was a change in leadership here in the US, right? The move from so that as Pluto is in Aquarius, the move from a large central government to shrinking government is really what that move happened when Pluto moved out of Capricorn into Aquarius right around the time of our elections, right? The move to a different way of governing, a reduction of the size of government, which leads us to today, Pluto in Aquarius, technological breakthroughs. Like, what can be more significant than AI and the advancements in AI and biotech and space exploration? More you can really expect these next 20 years to be defined by these technology events and challenging really how we define a human. Technology is changing faster than ever before. And it's not about if you embrace it, it's how, and how to remain human and not rely on the technology for a human contact. There was that movie a number of years ago with Joaquin Phoenix, Her. It was actually produced by Larry Ellison's daughter. Larry Ellison is the founder, CEO, and majority shareholder of Oracle, which is one of the largest technology companies in the world. Interesting that his daughter produced a movie about a man falling in love with a computer, right? Redefining and what is human. So one of the challenges in the technology breakthroughs we will see under Pluto and Aquarius, power struggle shifting, dismantling of centralized power systems, just like back when Pluto was in Aquarius last time, the French and American revolutions. We are seeing now the breakdown of a lot of the federal government, right? We saw it with Doge early on this year, getting rid of a lot of waste, a lot of agencies that were taking money that wasn't going to where it was supposed to go. We're seeing every day the desire to take the federal government and shrink it to what its essential services should be. We are also seeing an emphasis, and you will continue to see the emphasis on local and community. Just like when the American Revolution happened and America was uh, designed and constitutional as a republic, um, uh, transparency that was founded on transparency and accountability locally. We continue to see calls for transparency and accountability today, right? You're going to see more and more of that. I'm going to kind of dovetail to the last little thing here. Pluto's job is to unearth what is hidden. We have already begun to see the dark side, the shadow side, what hasn't been exposed with regards to technology, government, and other institutions, right? We are every day seeing what has been hidden from us, and it's only going to amplify. It's only going to be more noticeable and noticed. So we all, at some point, will be faced with the reality of something we thought was one way was actually another way. That's a huge part of Pluto in Aquarius, that what we thought from a government institution, corporation perspective was one thing, actually is something else. So where there is secrets, it will be uncovered. Where people have been hiding things kind of behind the curtain, right? Like Oz, don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain. Those curtains will be opened up. How we deal with that is for each and every one of us to work through in our own way. Social revolution and equality. So the focus will shift from individual wealth and gain to the well-being of a group. The community at large, your city at large, your internal, your group of friends, people helping people, right? Really, instead of the like individual wealth and he who owns the most wins, it's how do we make sure that we're helping those in their time of need. Redefining what social justice and equality mean. I'm going to tell it, you may have heard this before, but there's a difference between equality and equity. And there's going to be a redefining, and there's already in the marketplace, people talking about equity and equality, two different concepts. The social revolution under Aquarius is about equality, not equity. Equity means the outcome is the same for everyone. Equality means everyone is treated equally and has the same opportunity. Two very different concepts. Pluto in Aquarius is about equality, not equity. So keep that in mind as you hear and see what's going on in the world around you. Individual and community, right? While advocating for the collective, really Aquarius emphasizes individuality and making sure we have the harmony between my freedom as an individual and my responsibility to the community. The best way I can talk about this is, we have I don't know about you, but there's an app called Nextdoor that I'm on. Most of it's like lost cats and dogs, but occasionally we get other things. And there always seems to be people who post about how somebody is walking their dog and didn't pick up after their dog on someone's lawn. And so that's the challenge, right? Individual freedom, I can walk my dog, but communal responsibility, but I do have to pick up their mess, right? I can't just let their mess sit on someone else's grass or in the park or whatever, right? I've got the freedom to do what I need to do, but I need to take responsibility for the community overall. A very silly little but simple illustration of how to balance that. Okay, and then this energy of Pluto is really going to enable everyone to rise. And if you can embrace it and harness it in a positive way, you will come out so much further ahead than where you were when you came in. Constructive action. So the big themes for us, for each of you personally, is know how to surrender to the endings, know when things have to end and they just have to end in order for new things to begin. Really welcome the inner journey. Pluto always requires us to go inside ourselves and learn how to reclaim your individual power. So there's some constructive things you can do facing your shadow self, right? The self that you have hidden, your deepest fears, your resistance to change, what's going on? Journal, meditate, whatever you need to do to understand the difference in what you are resisting versus these are my fundamental beliefs and they will not change, right? Know the difference. Investing in your self-worth. What are your self-imposed limits? What limits have you put on yourself that are keeping you from moving forward, from accepting, from using that AI tool, from whatever it is? What limit is self-imposed that might be keeping you from moving forward and accepting some of the benefits that are going to happen under this transformative energy? And then make sure that you're aligned, your professional and personal life are aligned with your higher purpose, particularly your professional life. A lot of people have done a lot of work to align their personal life, but not necessarily their professional life. I mean, if your professional life is like HE hockey sticks, if your professional life feels like hell, you need to get out. You need to figure out why you are allowing yourself to be in that situation. Uncover your talents and potential and find something else to do. Personal life, who in your life is really holding you back, that really is no longer aligned with your purpose, who tells you, when you talk to them about your beliefs or what you're doing and they're constantly negative or putting them down. Do you still really need them in your life, right? So align yourself with your purpose. And then trust the process. You have to build resilience. Nobody succeeds on the first time. Your limits will be tested. You will fail sometimes, but you have to get up. You have to adapt. You have to be resilient. You cannot quit. Focus on what you can control. So if you can't control it, if you can't control the action, you can control how you react to it. So control on your reaction to what actions you cannot control. If you can control and then really focus on what you can control, and make sure you're putting your energy into that. And then just have faith in yourself. The one beautiful thing about Pluto is it really wants you to believe that when you go through this transformation, you will come out better on the other side. Have faith that what you're being challenged with are the lessons that you need to learn. Be positive and remain positive, even though these lessons might be a little devastating. The more work you have done to understand yourself up to this point, the easier you will have during this transition. If you have done zero work to uncover your self-worth, align with your purpose, facing your shadow self, if you haven't done any of that yet, you are going to have the hardest time during this transit. And so just know, like I said, be patient with others, be patient with yourself. It's a slow moving energy. This happens, over 2 decades, basically. So just take it at your own pace, but constantly make sure you're moving forward. I am not going to talk about how each sign can best apply Pluto in Aquarius. I will just pull the slides up. You can pause the video so that you can read which is your sign. This slide is Aries, Taurus, Gemini, and Cancer. The next slide, we have Leo, Virgo, Libra, and Scorpio, and how each of these signs can best apply Pluto and Aquarius energy. And lastly, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. And please, please keep in mind that we have 3 planetary energies still in retrograde. So Pluto moved out of retrograde, but we still have Uranus, Saturn, and Neptune in retrograde. And so what that means is, you know, two steps forward, 1 step back, right? And just kind of know that things are a little challenging right now for everyone. The energy is heavy. Crap happens. And have patience, have faith, trust in those who are trustworthy, who have proven themselves to be trustworthy, and you will absolutely get through it. I also did a quick quick card pull of Archangel Oracle cards and have 3 messages for you. The first one is from Archangel Michael, and it is, remember who you are. Remember that you are a powerful, loving, and creative child of God. You are very loved. As you go through the challenges of all of this changing energy, know that you are God's creation. You are all loved by God. Archangel Metatron is reminding us to prioritize. There's a lot going on, right? There's just a ton going on right now. So focus on your highest priorities. Write them down. Get yourself organized and get the things that are highest priority done. Check them off and then work your way down. When there's a lot going on, it's sometimes hard to get started. And so Archangel Metatron is just here to say, hey, prioritize what you need to get done to make it through, remain on your life's path. And then Archangel Uriel. Yeah, I don't make this up. Archangel Uriel, it's the card that came up. He said, brilliant idea. Yes, your ideas are divinely guided. Remember when I said earlier about the energy and ideas that are coming up in the energy? This card came up. The synchronicities are all there. Please take action to bring your idea to fruition. So angel number 10, October is the month of ideas that are divinely inspired. Put an action plan together, prioritize them, and just remember that as life and this energy throws you a curve, you are loved. Don't give up. Just take a step back and reevaluate. Until next time, I wish you a blessed week. Bye for now.